welcome to the July meeting of the Allotments Committee. And the first agenda item is the election of the chairman and vice chairman for the mayoral year 2020-21. Can I have nominations for the chair of the Allotment Committee?
Can I nominate Dennis, please?
And I'll second that, Brenda Cannon.
Thank you.
Can I ask if there's any other nominations?
Jenny Hollis, do you not want to do it now, Jen?
No, Chris, thank you very much, but I'd prefer not to.
Okay, I'll withdraw my thingy then, whatever it was.
So any other nominations? So do we have a vote for Dennis as chair of allotments?
Yeah, well, all in favour?
All in favour?
All in favour?
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you.
Cool. Right, Dennis, over to you. Would you like to take nominations for the vice chair?
Yes, thank you very much. I thank you all for your confidence in me. Can I take nominations for the vice chair of the allotment committee, please? None. Well, if nobody else is going to, I'd like to nominate Chris Harvey, please.
Silence is golden.
Is there a second, please?
It might as well stay as it is, actually.
So do I have a seconder for that nomination? No? Well, I don't know what you do about this impasse.
I'd like to nominate Jenny so that she's working in tandem to pass on to Dennis, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think she has the I'm trying to think of the word, repar, is it? With the allotment holders, and I think that they would be quite upset if they thought that she wasn't working with you, Dennis.
The report. Do I have a seconder for Jenny then?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Jenny. Oh, we better have a vote, hadn't we? Sorry. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep.
That's okay. Well, thank you, Jenny, for your support in the following year. Okay. So
Yeah,
we move on.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
did you? Okay, cheers. All right, we'll move on now to 15520, declarations of any disposable pecuniary interests.
I've none.
None.
Thank you very much. I'll take that as read now. 15620, apologies for absence. Chris?
No, I haven't received any.
Okay. Okay, moving on to that, the minutes to the last committee meeting. Are we going to be able to put them up?
They're there, Dennis.
Chris,
Not my
can
screen,
you
they're
pop
not.
them up? Can
Not
Chris
my
put the
screen.
minutes up?
Thank you.
Oops.
I won't keep you a moment, just carry
Yeah.
on.
As I don't have a copy of the agenda, I can't move forward any further because
Do you want me to pop the...
oh, you smell wonderful.
Okay. The office update.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll do this one first and then go back.
I've got this one if you want it.
So the allotment associations work really well with the council to communicate the coronavirus messages to the allotment holders. I really don't know what we would have done them without them. I'm sure Jen and Chris and those people who have been at the allotments will be saying how great they were in terms of getting the message out. and making sure that people were complying with the allotment associations were telling us to do. So just a big thank you really to everybody there. We've completed the fencing at Berry Road. Carl had to work quite hard to get some snags finished up. Our awards for all bid was refused because of the coronavirus outbreak. They suspended all awards for all bids, and they said that they were going to put all of the money towards coronavirus, but they told us that we could resubmit when the situation changes.
How much was that for, Ross?
Pardon?
How much was the bid for? I can't remember.
It was just under 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. The allotment inspections we suspended during the coronavirus outbreak because we didn't want to be encouraging people out of the house to do their allotment if for any reason that they were shielding. But we did ask people to tell us if they were shielding. Carl is sensitively reinstated that and is basically keeping an eye on the ones that are completely out of control. And we have had some letters in from people saying they're sorry, but they are still shielding. Carl, do you want to say anything about that? What's happening there?
The inspections.
Yeah.
It is a very awkward time at the moment. If we have had no notification from them, we still go ahead and send them letters and carry on with the process. But if they reply back saying that they are shielding, I think we just have to respect that and let it go for the time being. We may have to sort of intervene just to keep their plots in check if there's time available to do that. But it's very, very awkward at the moment to find the time. But as a rule, the sites are looking pretty good. People's used their time off, if they've been furloughed, to sort of get involved with the allotments, and hence the waiting list has gone crazy.
We got Jen wanting hands up, so yeah.
Right, I'm gonna come in now, but I'm not really sure if I'm in the right position. Icknield Way.
Oh, could we do that a bit under correspondence?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if I'd come in the right end. I think Chris will agree with me with what I'm going to say, because I think he has, from what I can gather, he has the same concerns as I do. So yeah, okay then.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Who was next? I can't see
Me, I think.
Yes, Brenda. Thank you.
Yeah, Carl. This might be the wrong place as well. In our rules because you're doing the inspections, in our rules, we haven't got that they're not allowed to put gravel down. Well, I've had a friend of a friend saying that they've been asked to remove their gravel from their plot up on the Mumford Road.
That's MR10. What they've done, they've done a splendid job on their plot, and it's a nice young family. And it really, it was a hard one for me to sort of bring myself to sort of approach it. But I think I had to, because the area they've covered is first of all, it's covered with plastic, and then they've covered it all with gravel. I mean, if they vacate that plot, it's not going to be ideal for for a future tenant. And if they vacate it and don't clear the gravel up and take the plastic away, that is going to be a nightmare for me. So that's why I've asked them to remove it. What they haven't completely finished, when I did notice it, I tried to get in touch with them as quick as I could through the official procedure. So it's just one of the cases where I've sort of had previous experience from men's sheds when they've done theirs. When we came to clear it,
guys, Guys, do you mind if I intervene? Because we're talking about an individual plot issue, could we do that under the line at the very end?
Yeah, that's fine.
Because it's an individual plot.
Yeah.
Cool.
Jen, did you want to have anything to say?
No, I was just going to say, because it's an individual plot, it should do that below the line.
Thank you. Mhm.
Cool.
Okay.
Before you go on, would you like me to show you the minutes, please? You'll have to come out, Ros.
Yep, I will.
Thank you very much.
Am I out?
Yep, thank you. There we go. Can you see them?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, they've come up now. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. These have gone through full council, haven't they? Yes.
They have.
Right. So we'll just go through them page by page quickly to see if anybody has any typo errors, anything to pick up. Page 1. Page 2.
And that's it.
And that's it. Yep, that's the end. So are we all agreed on the minutes?
Agree.
Agree.
Agreed. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Back to you.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Whilst I'm on,
Yeah.
there were no questions from the allotments people, were there, Ros?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Joe.
Yeah,
Has Joe got any questions coming in? I don't think so.
No. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again. Right, so can we move forward then, please? Right.
Get back to where we were.
Yeah. Okay, so we finished the minutes. I have the action points.
Oh, that's the wrong ones, aren't they?
Yes.
That's
Officers update next.
Yeah, it should be officers update. Thank you.
Oops.
15820. Officers update.
Sorry, I think I've thrown myself. I've shared the wrong thing. Right. Go back to where I am. Share.
I only know because I've got my tablet next to it.
I may have to get a tablet to do that.
Sorry, I shared the cemetery papers instead of the allotments, which is a bit scary. So there we go. So I think we've done everything on
You've
that
done
one.
that
now.
one, yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. My vice chair seems to be doing a good job there.
Sorry, Den.
No, that's great. No. All help greatly appreciated. So we've got 15920 now.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Basically, we were asking all the committees just to review their priorities to make sure they didn't want to change them in light of coronavirus.
Okay. So does the officer want to go through these, or shall I go through them?
I'm happy to do that for you, Dennis.
Thank you very much, Ros.
So we're carrying on working with the Allotment Association. We've got our handbook draft completed, and we really need to go live with that. And we probably need to look at the training costs, but we'll probably have to move things all to be online training, and look at how we go about doing our informal allotment meetings. Now we're kind of going forward. I sent out the email. Alan was the only one I think who responded to me, who suggested that we have online allotment meetings going forward. I think we'd be able to offer that out to lots of allotment holders if we did it in a presentation style format. So we can have our allotment association meetings for our reps, and then we can actually do wider stuff about how we use water and invite everybody, because as long as you've got someone's email, we can do everyone.
That seems a good idea.
So So the small grants, I think we will resubmit that later in the year as soon as we're allowed to. And we were looking at the security on all sites, which I think is still relevant. Yeah. Allotment can do development, more environmental practices. Yes, we can do all of that. I don't think that's a problem. Is there anything else that councillors think we should be doing because of coronavirus on the allotments?
No, I don't. Sorry, Ding. Hands
No,
up.
no,
I can't see the. I think at the moment, we need to. We need to keep as we are at the moment.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't think under health and safety there needs to be anything added. I think most of them, no, as long as we've got signs up, which I gather we have. I know quite a few people, they go up there and they spray the lock in and out as they go in and out. So I don't see there's a problem. I don't know whether the officers had any problem where there's a bad mixture of people not keeping their distances. I wouldn't have thought so. They normally shout across to each other, but
Yeah.
unless the officer's got any problems, I would say no. We should have we've got signs up, so that should do it.
Carl, have you got any comments about coronavirus and how it's been working on the allotments?
No, not really. I mean, I don't know if they still use their sheds, their community sheds. I mean, I'm not at all the sites all at the same time. I'm at Berry Road at the moment. So, I mean, I don't really see a lot what goes on all the time. As regards locks, they tend I know London Road, they leave theirs open.
Well, that's not good.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, so no, I haven't really noticed anything of great concern.
Right. Can I have Chris wants to comment?
Yes, please. Regarding the coronavirus, the London Road gates were left open so loads of different allotment holders didn't have to touch the handles and the locks. And the lad who got the first allotment, he lives right beside it, and he had hand sanitizer and wipes beside the gate so people could clean their hands when they went in and out. I did ask him the gate should be shut, but I mean, common sense did take over a bit there. I thought this is a good idea because you haven't got people touching those hard surfaces, which we all know allegedly what this bug can live on. It might, under the same sort of thing, I had a question from a allotment holder about water under the coronavirus. They would like to keep a tap on in the winter so they can wash their hands.
Oh.
Can we bring that up under correspondence as well, Chris?
Okay, no issues, yeah? I was going to bring it up to health and safety, but I thought I'd do it.
Oh, well, you can bring it up under health and safety. It would fit there, definitely.
Under correspondence will be okay. I'm not bothered.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wants to comment on this? No? Well, then I think we should move forward to our wonderful budget.
Alan's with us.
Oh, good. Well done. Thank you.
Hey.
Yeah. Thank you. Welcome, Alan. If you could run us through this, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. I think one of the difficulties that we have is that at the moment it's so fluid. What the full impact of the coronavirus is going to be going forward is actually very difficult. But allotments have another challenge in that at the moment we've been doing an investigation into VAT. And one of the things that came out of the VAT work is that there was a decision taken in June 2006 to opt to tax most of the allotments. We have never ever been paying over the VAT for that, but we have been claiming the VAT on our costs. So we have a little bit of a predicament because what it means going forward is that for all the sites except for Berry Road and London Road, we have to pay over 20% of our allotment revenue to HMRC. And we've started doing that with effect from the 1st of April this year. What it does mean is we're going to lose, of our £52, we are going to lose £8.67, will have to be paid over to HMRC going forward. We have provided an amount in reserves, which was approved at the last council meeting, for the contingency and the retrospective costs that we might incur. So I just want to park that there. When you look at the budget and the budget revision, our income is going to be significantly lower than what we had in the previous year and what we had budgeted for this year. And you can see that in the column of numbers, the third one projected for the year. You can already see that I've reduced that by what I think the impact will be of that VAT. In terms of the other costs, our maintenance costs, we have had quite a significant expenditure at Berry Road, as Roz has just indicated. That, unfortunately, we cannot claim the VAT for, whereas in previous years we would have done that. So that will add our costs up, because most of the costs that we have traditionally claimed VAT, we won't be able to do going forward. So if I can leave it there.
Alan, can I just ask about Berry Road? Because we did commission that in last year's budget, didn't we?
We did, yes.
There's no way we could have taken that from last year's monies?
Well, it would still make no impact, because when we do the calculation of how much we owe HMRC, if we take it out of last year's money, we're going to have to pay back HMRC even more than we've set aside. So it'll have a neutral impact.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so we've got significant budget problems this year, guys.
Can I come in, please, then? Hello.
Oh, we lost Dennis.
Sorry, I muted myself. So
sorry,
please come in. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you say we haven't been paying that since 2006?
Yes, we got a letter. We wrote to HMRC to see which properties we had opted to tax. And according to HMRC, we put an application in on the 23rd of June, 2006. So from that date onwards, we should have been taxing our allotments.
Oh, for God's sake. I mean, this is a previous era before my time, Chris's time, Dennis and Brenda's, I think.
I was there, I think. Oh, no, 2006. No?
Yeah, it's a long time ago, before all of us. I can't really, I don't understand why this weren't picked up before, because that's going to make extra, it's the budget is just, unless the chair can go to finance.
Yes, it looks like we're in trouble a bit, yeah.
We are in trouble.
Alan, can I just clarify, because some of the allotment costs are centralised and some of them are not. Now, we've got to this year make sure that we budget for the skips that the allotments have been using.
Yeah.
So that's got to come out of this year's budget. But I just want to clarify, Alan, does the water come from the central budget or does it come from allotments?
Well, what we'll have to, just to answer your question, water is VAT free, so it has no impact. So it's exempt from VAT. But what we will have to do is, for example, I know that in one of the orders where we are using a skip for the allotments, we're going to have to do an estimation about some of those centralized costs. So what the best practice is to take the proportion that's VATable versus the proportion that's not VATable and apply that to all the costs. So that will probably be the way that I just have to have that confirmed when I meet with our VAT advisor, but that seems to be the way that we'll be going. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, is there any more comments on the budget?
Can I come back on that then? So looking at the expenditure, the maintenance we've paid no VAT for, or we can claim VAT?
So basically what it means is that for all those allotments which we should have been charging VAT, we can claim all our VAT inputs for. Berry Road and London Road, if we incur any expenditure there in which we pay VAT, we cannot claim it. But I put a caveat on that because we may be able to claim it, but there's no certainty from a budgeting perspective, because as a council on all our exempt activities, we get we can claim that up to £7,500, but that takes into account all our exempt activities. So it takes into account market, it takes into account some of the other property expenses. So we may be able to claim some of it back, but from a budgeting and a forecasting perspective, it would be very unwise to budget for that. So I've assumed that we won't claim it back. At the end of the year, at the end of next year, we'll do a calculation on all our exempt VAT, and we will then just see if we can claim it back or not.
All right, thank you, Alan.
So are we heading for a significant overspend at the end of the year then, Alan?
I was going to ask.
Relative to what we budgeted, yes, because we immediately we lose probably a 20% of our VAT input, so our costs go up by 20% in respect of those that are VATable. So I think we will. Remember, staff is not VATable, water is not VATable, but most of our other costs are VATable. So it is likely that our expenses will increase, even though we haven't necessarily done anything different to previous years.
So as a committee, do we need to go back to finance and explain these difficulties and see if there's any way we can increase our budget to cover these costs?
Dennis, could I come in?
Of course you can, yeah.
It might seem a silly question, but could we go back to finance and say that we don't want any of our allotments taxed?
Just to answer both your questions, I think there's an organisational issue, because it's not only allotments that get affected by this. There's some of our other departments that it might have an impact on. So as a finance committee, we've tried to look at it at an organisational perspective rather than at a committee perspective. So, we have made a provision, and that we're confident that the provision that we've made in our reserves will fund that. So I'm not too sure that the allotments committee has to take some responsibility. I think it was just an organisational wide issue. We've got two processes. The one is that we're going to revise the budget as part of our budget timetable, and that will happen before your next committee meeting. You'll be presented with the new budget for 2021. But just to answer Brenda's specific question, when you opt to tax, it lasts for 20 years.
Oh.
So we have to wait until the 22nd of June 2026 is when we can apply to have the opt to tax removed.
I don't think I'll be a councillor then.
I might not be an official then either.
I really can't. Sorry, Den. I really can't see why this hasn't been picked up before. I really can't. It's 2006. That's 14 years ago.
I think we're all fairly disappointed on that, but
I'm shocked. I don't know about anything else.
Yeah, I do think we'll probably need to move forward on now, and Alan's given us a pointer where what will happen and go. So on that, unless anybody else has got any more information and maybe some good news on budget, we can move forward, I think,
Dennis, is all right to come in here?
Yes, please do. I'm having quite an open meeting right now.
Yeah, I'd just like to say thank you, Alan, for that, because now we know where we've got to go. To my mind, we've got to make sure that all them allotments are let, and allotments, even if we don't make money, we've got to break even. So going forward, that's what we've got to think of. We must break even. Not, because at the end of the day, we've got to think this is ratepayers' money. Breaking even, most people live with. But if they think that their council money is maintaining allotments for some people and not everybody. So I think, that we have to keep that in mind now. We've got a good budget report. So thank you, Alan.
Yeah, and we didn't have a considerable budget this year anyway. But as Brenda said, we just have to move forward. We have a statutory duty to have allotments, so we'll just have to move forward and try to plan better for the future. Cheers. Any other comments on budget?
No, thank you, Alan.
Thank you. Actually, before Alan goes, Chair, would you mind if we skip to forward just to look at the fees on the agenda?
Yeah, if you tell me what number, we'll do that.
It's 16320.
Right, thank you very much.
So I've got Alan here.
Yep.
So what I've done in terms of the options for our fees going forward. Now, this is not fees for 2021. I apologise. It's fees for 21-22. So that's a correction on the agenda. So you have to agree your fees for a whole year in advance to give notice to your tenants. Yeah. So next year in October, there will be no fee increases. We will carry on with the fees that we currently have. So we're looking at a fee increase for 21-22. And because we've basically got 20% reduction, I've done options of continue with the current fees, take a 20% drop in income, and then we'd have to significantly look at how we reduce our expenditure. Option 2 is to increase to 10% with a 10% drop of income. So we'd still be having to look at how we reduce our expenditure. Or option 1, which was an increase of fees by 20% and maintain a level of income.
We have 2 option 1s here.
Pardon?
We have 2 option 1s.
Oh, so I do. That should be an option 3, Dennis.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Should be an option 3.
Yeah.
So so when I say the percentages, it sounds an awful lot, but actually when you look at the fees and actually how much we're talking about, it's actually it's not as bad as that. Right.
And you wanted Alan to have an input here, did you?
Well, no, I just wanted councillors, in case that you ask your questions and have your thoughts first, and then if there's any sort of financial technical ways of us doing it, maybe Alan, we could use Alan's expertise.
Okay, I have no hands up, so if anybody wants to come in now, that's fine.
Yeah, please, Den.
Yeah, please.
Option 3. I know it's covering the 20% VAT and that, but it's such a lot of money for people. Such a lot of money. I say at least this year, because my concern is that we've got young families on there now, and we've got our older residents that on there. But during this coronavirus, I was concerned that if we turn around and say, right, I mean, they're going to have to go up eventually, but at this time, I would prefer to see things as they are. So, as you say, it's in a year's time, because we're getting close to October very quickly this year. I say, as long as we're able to cope at the moment, and as Brenda said before, we need to get these allotments sorted and get them out to people to get the revenue in. But yeah, I mean, for this time, for the COVID, I think we need to stay where we are, and then maybe we've got to look at this before October, so that it can change next October. But this
is the last time that we can change the fees for 21-22. If we don't do it now, we're going to have the standstill fees for 2 years. And I think, I mean, because of the drop in income, that's going to cause us substantial problems. Because basically, you have to tell them before the 1st of October.
Yeah, before I have my opinion, can I hear from any other committee members, please?
Yeah, can I come in, please, Dennis?
Yes, please go ahead.
I mean, everyone knows my feelings on allotment fees and putting things up. I mean, we've been thrown a curveball this morning by what has happened. I don't know. I'm just totally confused now. I mean, I was quite happy. I mean, I totally agree with Jenny. As the way the situation is now, we shouldn't put the prices up, etc., etc. I'm going to have to sit back and think about this a bit before we go too far, because I just can't work out how we're going to move forward. You know.
No,
So can I just
agree with
so
this.
option 2 is a 10% increase, which would be an extra £6 for a full plot, an extra £3 for a half plot.
Right.
Alan did have a suggestion.
Yeah, but before we come to that, can I see if there's any other councillors who have a comment to make, and then we'll come back to you, Ros and Alan, okay?
Yeah, I actually, because this is not this year, it's next year, I would actually go down the option 2, because I'm in the middle then, and then I've got another 2 years to make sure that I can let all the allotments. This is the key thing. The key thing is when we've got empty plots, because we're not getting the money in, I think we need to work harder and smarter to get them allotments done. If people are, you know, later on in the conversation, if we can get people to take them plots as they are, instead of waiting because they've got to be cleared, will you take it as it is? That's an incentive. So I would go for option 2, because it's not this year, it's next year, you know. That's just my preference, unless somebody can persuade me differently.
Thank you, Brenda. Anybody else? Or is that everything?
Sorry, Dennis, there's one thing I did forget to mention, if I'm allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I've a lot of sympathy where Brenda's coming from. I think it makes a lot of sense. But what I would insist on, that we explain to the allotment holders why.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. Can I just... Sorry.
Well, no, go ahead. I'll have mine after everybody.
Oh, thank you, Sam. What I was going to say, I'm sorry, you'll see my cat. She's just jumped in front of the screen.
Lovely.
What I was going to say is, if we can, are these rises down to the fact that the VAT hasn't been paid and we need to recoup that money at this time? Or is that, I understand we're going to use it to cover the VAT for that year. So I'm a bit, how are we going to get the money to get this VAT deal, debt paid?
Ros or Alan?
Alan, do you want to come in on that one?
Like I say, I think what we've done is we have made a provision organisational wide for that. For this year, the provision was made for the year ending 31st of March 2020. For this year, we would look to fund, we're going to end up with a little bit of a deficit in our allotments. And, you know, that'll get funded out of the overall pool of money. When we do our revised budget next month, I think we'll be in a much better position to actually understand what that full impact would be. But the other thing, the other points that I just thinking on my feet is that maybe in future our full costs won't go up by quite 20%, because we're going to be claiming back some of the VAT that we incur. So that might bring our VAT rate down to 18% or 17%. But it's quite difficult to do those calculations now, because I'm not too sure what type of expenditure we're going to incur going forward. But, you know, like I say, historically, we've had to deal with this at an organisational level. So I don't think the allotments committee needs to say, well, in our fees, do we need to recover back that money? Because the provision has been made for that. But sorry, I'm just repeating myself. So let me stop there before I say exactly what I said earlier on.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Thank you. Ros, have you got anything to say now?
Well, one of the things that Alan did say, that, you know, is that whether we committed to phasing the increase over a longer period of time. So if you were saying, look, £6 is too much on a full allotment, £3 is too much on a half allotment, so that's 10%. If you didn't want to do the 10%, whether you went for a 5% but 5% for the next 3 years. So you were saying to the allotment holders, we've got to make up this 20%, but we're going to do it over. And I've said 3 years rather than 4 on the count that Alan is saying that percentage, we might not have to make up the full 20%. It might be less than that.
Oh, any comments on that idea?
Yeah, I'm. You know,
Right.
I actually look at these fees, and actually they're quite good compared to some allotments. You know, when we've been out and about with the allotments committee, we do cut ourselves a bit short sometimes. But yeah, I'm prepared. But we go for the 10%, but we say we'll do it over 2 to 3 years, and just see what the committee come back with. The allotment committees come back with. But
Well,
you know, with a good explanation, I think you know they'll agree. You know, no business stands still. You've always got to increase. I mean, I don't sit at home and think this year my electric bill is going to be the same as what it's going to be next year. I know I'm going to have to put a bit more away. You know.
Okay. If everybody had comments now, or if so, I shall make some comments and then we'll ask for a decision. Okay. No more. Okay. My comment basically are: it's unfortunate in the position we're in, but we're in it. I mind that a lot of our allotment holders come into vulnerable positions, as in there's a lot of elderly and there's also young families and everything. So, and with the virus thing, we need to take that into consideration. I would be inclined for option 2 to do it, but I'm willing to do option 2 over a period of years. So what I would like to know is if somebody to make a recommendation so we can take a vote.
Could I have a proposal? Would be good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Somebody make a recommendation, a proposal now, and then.
Well, I'd propose that we go along with Roz's recommendation that we take option 2 and we do it over, what was it, 2 to 3 years, Roz?
Well, I think if you do it over 2 years, that's 5% for this year and not this year, 21, 22, and then 22, 23.
I'll propose that then. Well,
over how many years was that? Sorry, 2 years.
2 years, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I have a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second.
Thank you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use Polly.
I have no idea. Go on.
Be on your screen in a moment.
Right.
You've all got to go to the chat box.
All right, let me get that up.
All right, and there's Polly. So you're either going to agree, or you're against it, or you're going to abstain.
Ooh.
So you press a button, and you do it over the next moment or two, please.
So you're good. Yeah.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Oh, this is fun.
Yay! It's exciting, Chris.
That was clever.
I got votes from Councillor Harvey and Cannon.
I pushed. Hang on, I did. Oh, hang on.
You've got to agree, against, or abstain.
Yeah,
I did.
I just lost it all together. I was out of contact with the whole thing. So
Yeah, I've done it.
I'll go to chat box.
So that's it. So it's 3 votes.
Well, I haven't voted because I wasn't.
Dennis, have a go at voting.
Chairman, have a go.
Yeah, I'll just get, because I went to chat box and then it said meeting on hold. So I don't know what I did. Okay. Oh, I see. Submit vote. So I submit the. Well, I have 2 boxes. One of them is against and one of them's abstain. I don't have a 4 box.
You don't have an agree, the top one.
Now I found it. Don't worry. Yeah, I've moved it down and it's there. Agree, submit, vote. There we go. Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. That's 4 votes and that's final. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Hope that
Thank you very much, Alan, for your time.
Yeah, again, thank you, Alan. Yes.
A pleasure.
Cheers. Okay, moving forward.
Sorry, gone back. Sorry about that, Rod. Dennis.
What's happening?
I went back because we skipped ahead to do the fees while Alan was there.
Right, so we're at 16120, health and safety. To consider any issues that have arisen.
Yes, I think, Chris, do you want to take up about the tap and having water on the site in winter?
Yeah, if I could, please. I have one or two other issues as well, but that's by the by. The tap one first. I was spoken to an allotment holder yesterday while I was doing a search about, and they would ask if we could leave one tap on so they could wash their hands, because everyone's saying you must wash your hands regularly. You know, this seems to be the mantra, please wash your hands at all occasions. And this is what they're asking for. If one tap could be left on the site with a box around it so it doesn't freeze, so they can use it to keep their hands clean.
I think I need to go to Carl here because I'm just a bit worried that it will freeze. Carl, what could we leave one tap on? What would be the issue?
You'd have to say insulate it. I'm not sure how that would work with just one, because you'd have to put stopcocks on all the other ones to isolate them because it's run on one line. I've got a feeling I've never seen anybody wash their hands up here at all on all the sites I've been to. I've got a feeling it might be just a water supply for chickens. That's my view on that. I haven't seen anybody wash their hands. Nobody.
No, I must admit, I have the same thoughts that you did. I've never seen anyone use the taps to wash their hands either. And I think that there are concerns. The freezing, we can't like. But I mean, as far as I did say to the allotment holder, why don't you have a water container in your shed where you can wash your hands with hand sanitizer, etc., etc. That would be the way I would go. I wouldn't be for leaving a tap on, to be honest.
I agree with you, Chris.
Any more comments?
Yeah, I agree as well. I don't think we should be leaving the taps on. I know myself, I've got an outside tap and I have to really lag that every winter. Although I must admit we haven't had really bad winters, but I still have to really lag that. Otherwise the impact goes through,
Okay.
I would say no.
Sorry. Yeah, I would take the advice of our health and safety officer there, but also I think it could end up with considerable expenses for us if we were to do this, and we're also setting a precedent. So we could end it up with all the sites having it. So, yeah, if we could, I think if somebody wants to build a proposal, if not, I will, that we do not do this, and that we suggest to people that they have water and sanitizers in their sheds.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that everybody agreed?
Agreed.
Can I just ask Chris? Chris, have you been on the Carl as well? This metal being there's metal going on to the Icknield Way.
Yeah, I must admit, Icknield Way is one I haven't been able to get down to.
Right.
I did Bury Road, London Road, and Mumford Road between Monday and today.
Oh, bless you.
Due to family issues, I haven't got down to the Icknield Way one yet. If there isn't, I'm surprised that Yvonne hasn't been in touch about this, because she hasn't mentioned it.
No. I went down there the other Monday and I was having a look because of like grass cutting and that. But I noticed it. Yeah.
I will have a look next week if that's okay.
It's right at the back. I mean, I don't know if they're doing like for metal collecting for their. There wasn't a lot, and it wasn't dangerous, if you like.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't know if you'd actually seen it, what your views were on it.
Okay. Will that be okay if I go down next week after I finish my babysitting duties, and I'll report back in? Yeah.
On this, do we have to ask Chris if he's willing to continue with his health and safety?
Chris has got no choice.
Yes, please, Chris.
No, I really don't mind. I really enjoy it, to be fair. It's good fun.
And I think you do an excellent job, sir. So I think if you're willing.
Health and safety issues, if that's okay, if I can carry on.
Yeah.
Can I bring something up there, Dennis?
Yes.
Health and safety issues. If when Chris goes out and he does his view, rather than wait for an allotment, he can sort of like email Ros and email the whole committee. There's not that many of us to copy in, is there?
To be fair, I have been emailing Ros and Jenny regarding some of the things I spotted.
Yeah, but I think it's, you know, it's only a
Whole
small
committee. I
bit.
can tell the whole committee. It's not a problem. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
not.
Thank you.
No, I can do that. Some of the other issues I found are minor. I was really impressed with Berry Road. I think Berry Road has really stepped up to the plate of what's happened. They're far the best allotment site we have now, I believe. I do have this issue with canes, I'm afraid. I know it's petty, and I've tried to explain to people that people have canes low down, they bend down, they go in their eyes. I keep asking them to cover them up. I don't know if we can, don't know quite how I can get the message across to everybody. And also, it's possibly a health and safety issue. The Berry Road complained about the fact the new contract does not cut into grass properly, he's only doing the middle, leaving the edges overgrown, which is not good.
Right.
Apart from that, to be fair, as I said, the gates being open on the London Road, I wasn't happy, but I can understand the logic. Mumford Road was good to see. There's a lot of new people up there who I'm speaking to, and the accesses and the paths are really good. So to be fair, in the last 3 years, since Jenny now have gone on, I think our allotments have improved 100%, and I think the allotment committee should be congratulated on their efforts over the last 3 or 4 years.
Absolutely. Well said. Yeah.
Okay, that'll do for me. Unless anyone else can think of something, my mind's gone numb now.
Well, just a tip. A lot of people buy these little yogurt pots and put them on.
Yeah, that's what I use. Yeah,
and I don't know whether we can ask people to collect them, and so that the allotment people can use them. Just say, would you like us to do collections? Because I mean, my son takes yogurt every day, and he always brings the pot home, so I just have to rinse it and throw it. It might be that they don't buy the little yogurt pots. You know, they might buy a big yogurt pot, so they're not suitable. But you know, when we can talk to the committee, so that they could have a bag outside their shed or something. So
Yeah.
The yogurt drinks bottles are the best things rather than the yogurt pots. The yogurt pots blow off, but the yogurt drinks, they're really good. You know, that is the way to go forward. Or just taste the tops. Is you know, but there are ways. I mean, but I will keep on him and banging on and see what they're going to do. The pond on the Berry Road is fenced off and safe. There's no issues with that. They're community stuff. Social distancing. We did have a complaint that people weren't social distancing properly on the London Road. But when I went to check, they were a family.
Right.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That's not an issue either.
Thanks again, Chris, for that. Well, if there's any more comments, we'll take them. Other than that, is there anything that the Paul wants to have a word about with any issues that he's got?
What, health and safety?
Yeah.
It does concern me, the London Road gate being left open. One of the issues is it's a young family estate. You could get young kids running in onto the plots. Also, it's open to fly tipping abuse. You know, I know we had a little bit of an issue with, which I thought was fly tipping, but it was from one of the tenants themselves. But that was right by the gate, and it was like advertising to anybody in that area, come and dump your rubbish. But I'm a little bit concerned having the gate left open. I think, there is a valid point about, you haven't got to touch the locks and things, but the gates were never locked before the virus. I think perhaps it's been used as a little bit of an excuse. I mean, there is running water if they want to wash their hands afterwards after locking the gate. That's my concern.
Dennis, could I come back? Hello?
Yeah, go on, Chris.
Okay, the gates being open isn't really a health and safety issue, to be fair. It's just the fact I asked them why they were open, and they said because of this and what they were doing. So that's the only reason I brought it up. I do agree. I think the gate should be closed, but that comes under, I'm not sure that's health and safety, but I will keep on at them every time I go up there. And in the end, I'll annoy them that much, they'll shut them.
I think it's a case of someone opens them, and it's just easy because a lot of people come down on site in their vehicles, And it's, you know, I think it's just easy just to stay in your vehicle, drive through and drive out, and the last person out locks the gate. That's all I can see it's been left open for.
Okay. Right, if if everybody's had their say, we can move on to the next section, which 16220, I guess. Yeah.
Can I just say a big thank you to Carl, because we during shutdown we were keeping people at home for a little while and allowing the allotments still to be open. And as soon as the kind of things calmed down a bit, and Carl came out and was doing repairs to the taps and everything so that people would have access to running water and stuff. So Carl has been out and about on the plots for the majority of the time. So a big thank you to Carl for doing that.
Yes, thank you, Carl.
He's been doing some great clearance as well, because there's been some awful allotments, and I don't know, did I send you the pictures of some of the dumps that Carl has had to clear? So we've managed to allocate 13 since lockdown, and we are now, our waiting list is probably equivalent to our number of plots, because although it says 31 vacant plots and 37 on the waiting list, Carl has a lot of time he takes people round and then they actually don't take it up. So I reckon once we kind of get through this, we'll end up at a break-even point. Carl, did you want to say anything about the?
Yeah. With the clearance, I'd like to give credit to Chris Ensley as well. The days I have him like 2 days a week, and he's been terrific. I know he's had sort of a poor report on occasions, but when he's been working with me, he's been absolutely a godsend. He has really sort of got into it. So I have to sort of mention him. I know it's only been recently, but it certainly has made it easier on my point.
Good, because we've committed Chris to working on the allotment 2 days a week to increase it. So can we get all 31, do you reckon, allocated by October before the next lot?
Well, it'd be nice. I know the thing was mentioned about giving them out as they are. The only issue with that is you're asking someone to cough up £50 deposit, and you're expecting them to take on, which I consider some of them are in an awful state. I mean, I've only just recently sort of sent you pictures of what's required in clearing. The one we're on at the moment, Berry Road, number 34. It's horrendous. The average allotment clearance per plot normally requires at least one skip load of rubbish, and it is rubbish. I mean, you can recycle bits and pieces, but it is, no one would want to inherit that, and it would make it very, very hard in inspections to sort of allocate someone an allotment and then go around within a few months later and then saying, "Oh, you haven't done that, you haven't done this." That's a mess, because you've sort of allocated it to them like that.
Okay, Jen, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, thank you both to you and Chris, Carl. Right, on the vacant plots, the ones on we've got what we got. I'll take it nilled away for a start. We've got 4 vacant plots on there, but on the wait list we only got two on the list for waiting. Sorry, Carl. Can we not get them to get them plots sorted and get them filled with them 2 people that still want them, and maybe 2 of the no preference? Berry Road, we've got 5 plots. If we concentrate on one site, get them done, and then try and get them filled, then maybe that'd be the way to go, because you're actually clearing them and you're not waiting a few weeks for them to overgrow again before you have to allocate them.
Yeah, that's the general practice. That's the general approach I take. With Ignal Way, I know Karen, when she does her lists, if it's half a plot, or 2 halves or quarter, she puts that down as a plot. In effect, it might be only 1 plot. With Ignal Way, there's only 1.5 plots in effect. The other half is, on my records, is decommissioned. I think they use it as a burning area, because the argument was that they can't grow anything at that top half.
Can I come back on that then when Carl's finished, please?
Yeah, go on.
No, Carl, finish first.
Yeah, so with the numbering of plots, we really need to know how many full plots are vacant opposed to half plot and all that sort of thing, to get a true figure. Because I mean, the least amount you can allocate would be a full plot, and that could be divided at the very most into quarter plot. But to on the records, we need to have it as what full plots we have available.
Yeah, right. What I was going to say is, I think it's something I brought up a couple of years ago on allotments. Is you've got allotments we've got allotments that have got trees on that are decommissioned, and at that time, I when I first took over as chair on allotments, I turned around and I said, if you've got a decommissioned allotment, they should not be in the count of empty allotments, because you cannot use them. So you haven't got, so for argument's sake, Berry Road, it says 5 vacant plots. One of them may be decommissioned, the whole plot may be decommissioned. So really that should read 4 vacant plots.
I'm pretty sure, Jen, that we took most of those out. It looks like one is sneaked in from Icknield Way.
See, this is where we need it, and I agree. I mean, if you've got three plots and 2 half plots, then that should be marked down: 2 half plots, 3 full plots.
Yeah.
You know, well done to everybody, but it really maybe needs to be looked at, because I'm looking at a waiting list for Berry Road for two on the waiting list for Berry Road and 5 vacant plots. Now, is that 5 vacant plots, or is that 4 vacant plots, halves or fulls? We don't know what actually is there.
Mm.
As it stands at the moment at Berry Road, I've got 3 full plots, 1 half plot, 1 quarter plot. That's what's available at the moment.
Mm.
You see, that me looking at that, I see 5 vacant plots.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, isn't it?
Maybe we just need to, for people like me, that's not very good at things, is maybe we just need to mark down what we actually have got. You know, as in, we've got 2 on the waiting list for Berry Road. Do they want full plots, half plots, quarter plots? You know, we most probably could get them done and get people on that Berry Road. Icknield Way is the same. London Road's 4. You've got Mumford Road and the British Rail site. I mean, that's the most one. There's 14. No preference, 13. Can we not turn around and say, right, for the Berry Road 2, whichever they want, can we turn around and say, for argument's sake, we've got 2 plots cleared and emptied. Can these will be done on such and such a date? Are you willing to take these on such and such a date, the day after, so that they're filled straight away, pretty much? Sorry, I've gone on a bit.
Yeah, so Jen, let me tell you, you would like a more in-depth breakdown to what is available and what people want, type thing, is that?
I think that would be easier for us all to look at and turn around and say, as I say, you know, you've got 5 vacant plots. Are they full vacant plots? Are they quarters? halves, whatever, and then we know.
Well, officers, is that?
Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, is it possible?
Yeah, we can have a look at that. We
Okay.
did have some investigations into some allotment software before during lockdown. I asked Karen to have a look at some stuff for me, and I just because this manual producing these reports, they don't give you enough information, and I think probably we do need to go back and look at some software for them.
Yeah,
Well, can we leave that in your good hands then?
yeah.
Yep.
Could I just add to that, Dennis?
Yes, of course.
As Jenny was saying, we're saying we've got 5 plots where actually we've only got 4 3/4. Whether them, I don't know whether Karen can do it to say.
Sorry, the dog's barking.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we've got 4 3/4 plots. Mrs. So and so is after 1/4 of a plot, and then Cole knows, this area is this person's after one up there. It's a 1/4 plot. Actually, I can work on that. That's not going to take that. We could have that done within a couple of weeks. A 1/4 plot, and then you can move it straight on there. It's sort of like working more smarter. But for us to look at this. 5 plots? No, you haven't. You've got 4 3/4. Well, that's not making a lot of sense to us, is it?
No.
The idea is to get these plots done, dusted, and making money for the allotments. We're not making money, but try to get to where we can break even on allotments. Similar to what we've done with the cemetery, we've got to break even. We're not out there to make loads of money. We're out there to break even.
And we make
Absolutely.
We make significantly more money if we do 1/4 plots as opposed to full plots. So, and I think the 1/4 plots have gone well, haven't they, Carl?
I haven't allocated many. The first 1/4 plots were introduced on London Road, and they've done a terrific job on there. And they've requested further plots because they've enjoyed what they're doing and they've really turned them round. So I'm trying to look after them, that type of person, because I know they really do a good job, and that's the sort of tenant we want. So it's a good introduction if someone wants to try their hand to see if they like it or not. The only other 1/4 plot is on Berry Road. So it's just a total of 3 plots in total. We've managed to allocate on 1/4 plots. There's not been a big uptake. But the majority of them go for 1/2 a plot, to be honest.
Yeah. Fine.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, that's a good bit of information for us to take in. My only comment so far is well done. We seem to be moving ahead, and we're going to need these plots to be taken up as soon as possible. I've had some good feedback from a couple of people who phoned me up and said how happy they are to get their allotments during this lockdown, and that Carl was a very helpful person. So that's my only opinion. Come forward. So is there anything else you need, or should we move on to fees? 164, sorry. Yeah. We've done fees. So 16420, committee structure. Do we have any opinions on this?
What is it? Is this about?
This is about the restructuring of the committees and how we want them restructured.
I would like to say, personally, I would like to see that allotments run themselves, that they're not run by another committee.
Right, you want the committees to remain the same, basically, Brenda.
Yeah, I don't want it to come under ALP.
Okay, have I got any more comments?
No, I agree with Brenda.
Right, great. Anything else? Nope. Our officer, have you got anything to add to our conversation here?
I just wondered whether we wanted to formalise our informal meetings with our allotment holders within the committee structure. And whether we wanted to look at delegating powers a bit more in terms of what we're doing in the different allotments. Somebody mentioned that Berry Road have done particularly well, and whether, you know, one of the things, because if we are looking at reducing costs because our and the income, one of the ways we might look at to try and do that is to maybe give more responsibility to an allotment association. I don't know.
Yeah. So if you can, I'd agree with that. If we can come up with a plan on the way that can work.
Okay.
I think going forward, we need to work out how we're going to meet up with these people in the future, because the way things are going, we'll all be sitting there with masks on. Well, we don't want that. We'd rather we could get some of the committee members from the allotments online. So whether we could write that in. I
think what I would be saying is that we should have an allotment representatives meeting. That is a working group that sits underneath your allotments.
Yeah.
And it meets so many times a year just to.
Well, it can always meet just before allotments because we're only going to be meeting so many times a year anyway.
Yeah.
Or because I've got I'm trying to think of your workload because I was going to say that when we didn't meet, if we was meeting 4 times a year, then we meet them 4 times a year, but on a different occasion. But then that's putting more workload on you. Whether we could meet just before the allotments meeting, like we used to, they'd come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the only trouble with that is that right now we have cemeteries and allotments on the same day, one following the other, and cemeteries just closed out in time for the allotments to start this time. It didn't leave a lot of time, so we'd have to reschedule the way we do our meetings, but that would be a good idea myself. Yeah.
But we've always done that though, haven't we, Dan? We've always had allotments and cemeteries one after the other. We have done all. In the last 6 years we have.
Yeah, but if we're allowing time for the representatives from the allotment associations to have a meeting with us, we have to make sure that we give them enough time to get their points of view across and to try to.
I'm with you. Sort of join the informal one onto the formal.
Yeah, beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just down to the officer to work out a way that it could work and to come back to us. You know, I'm not too worried about the cemeteries committee because they can meet at 10. We could meet at 12. First hour, the first hour or half hour is for the allotment people to talk, and then we just go into the formal part where we've got to do recommendations.
Okay.
So the unofficial allotment meetings or such where we've done all the training and
well, we've done it before. We've always done it. We've always had them come in, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 15-minute forum.
Yeah. But I'm sure Ros can come up with something.
Yep, will do.
If I just say, it's Chris Crimmen here. The reason we reversed it, I think, because perhaps allotments was first, but that used to go on more than cemeteries. So cemeteries been given an hour and a half, and then allotments come in at 11:30, and that's worked out reasonably well, really.
Yeah. Well.
Although we can have them on different days if you decide that.
As I said, it's up to Ross, she's the officer. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, but I think at the end of the day, we've got to think of their officers. We've got to think of Carl's time as well.
We do, definitely.
It's up to them to come forward with a plan, I think.
Officers, do you want to have a time to think about it and come up with an idea, or?
Well, I think I like the idea of how if the allotments committee want a separate committee, then I think the best thing is to have the allotments reps meeting before the main committee meeting, and then to do it together. Yeah. And then everything's fresh in people's minds, and we don't lose anything in between the allotment reps meeting and the allotments full council meeting?
Yeah, I have well, this might be a bit of a radical idea here. In our standing orders, we allow we're allowed to bring people onto our committee to represent different bodies without non-elected members onto our committees, and actually have some representatives from the allotment associations on the actual physical committee. But that's just a radical idea I'm putting forward.
We couldn't choose which ones we wanted, though. That would be, we'd have to have everybody, and then the committee would be too big, I think.
Or we could let the residents, the allotment associations, choose a representative for the whole groups, one or two co-opted, that's the word, co-opted members on the committee. But that's something maybe we can take for a future. Yeah.
Something to think about.
Because there is a structure for having co-opted members. Okay, thank you. Yep. Anybody else got any comments?
No, thank you.
So what are we going to take forward right now as an idea? Are we going to say that we'd like to remain as a separate individual committee, and that we'd also like to have a meeting? Well, it'd be up to us whether we have a meeting in our offices, whether we have a meeting with the reps before the thing. But basically, we're asking to remain as a separate, independent committee. Is that right?
That's what everybody said. Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Would that have to be a proper proposal, do you think, Chair?
Well, if we would like a proper proposal, can I have a person propose that we remain as a separate independent structure? The other thing we may want to consider is maybe more meetings a year, but that would be we could sort that out later. But as a committee structure, do we want to remain as an independent committee?
I think so.
Yeah, me too. I would agree.
I'll propose that.
Brenda proposes it. Who seconds it?
I will, if you want.
Oh, Chris. Yeah.
Chris.
Great.
And I also agree with having more meetings. I think the way the allotments are going and how much we've got forward over the last 3 or 4 years, we should hit while the iron's slightly iron's hot and move and have a couple more meetings a year so we can really continue doing the good work.
And you want 6 meetings a year?
Sorry, more meetings a year, yeah.
Well, we've got 4. Yeah, we always had 4. Yeah.
Yeah, we want 6, I think.
We can always call another one whenever we need to.
Okay, well, I don't know. Whoever made the proposal, give us what your proposal is, please.
Chris, what's your proposal?
Oh, mine. Sorry, I would like the committee to remain as it is, but to have more meetings per year.
Yeah, thank you.
How many are you looking at, Chris?
Another 2 at least.
Well, there always is 4 meetings a year, Chris.
Yeah, but we have 6, up to 6 at least, because if we join in with the amenities one, we will be having X amount, wouldn't we? Because that's part of the plan anyway, wouldn't it? To have extra allotment meetings on the structured committee thing. If you look at the green box where it says allotments, it was going to go up to more anyway. So it's not a new proposal. It's just to stick it by ourselves, because I think we don't want to be swallowed up by amenities or anything else.
No, I think helping with these like extra committee meetings of, unofficial ones where we can get the views from the tenants of the allotments and that's been a great help on pushing things forward. So yeah, I'll second Chris's recommendation.
Absolutely, Jenny. Okay, so are we all in agreement then? That's what we want. A standalone committee and an increase in numbers of meetings per year.
6 meetings a year.
Yes.
Okay.
Why don't we say that increase the meetings to have informal meetings? Because the trouble with formal meetings is we are online, and hopefully in the future all meetings will be going online, whether we're meeting or not.
No.
And they might not want to attend. They might not want to attend meetings online, but we could still carry on with informal meetings.
Well, right now we're just looking at the structure of the committee as such, not the way we carry them out and everything, because I don't know if that's in the remit that we're being asked at the moment.
No, yeah, this is what I'm saying is, you know, at the moment we probably have to carry on this way till well into next year. They might not want to be on video if that makes more sense. So we could have more informal meetings.
Oh, yeah, at that. This is
up to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not against that idea, but what I'm trying to say is, right now we're being asked just about our committee structure, and the informal meetings wouldn't be part of our committee structure as such. It would be something that the committee has decided to do. They need to know whether we want to be part of another committee, glued onto cemeteries, or kept as a standalone ourselves and increase our meeting time. So I think we all agreed that we would be standalone.
Yes.
Yeah, we've all agreed on that. And okay, then we'll go six formal meetings.
Well,
that's a recommendation. So could I have a proposal and a seconder, please?
Well, I'll propose it because I said
Thanks,
it.
Chris.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you. Okay, right, then we can move on from there, because that will go through to personnel and it'll be discussed again, I'm sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on. 16520, correspondence to be noted and considered. Right. I think Roz, is it this one?
We do need to discuss the bonfires on Berry Road, but just bonfires on the sites generally. Carl, have you got anything to say about the bonfire situation? Because I know you've had issues too in the past.
What number is that? Oh, 6, right. Okay, got it.
Yeah, well, I had to have a bonfire this week to help with the rubbish load, because otherwise we'd be filling skip after skip. So what I did was I contacted the lady who submitted some reports or complaints during the year. I think one in January, one in April. So I contacted her over the weekend just to forewarn her, and she was understanding and fine about it. But yeah, I can appreciate in a surrounding like Berry Road where there's houses all the way around you, that it would be annoying if it was, you know, smoky bonfires, especially, you know, summer evenings and things like that. So I think we do probably have to be more vigilant in this sort of situation. Mumford Road is not too bad. I know I've annoyed people up there who've been working. I mean, I've lit a bonfire and then they've turned up or I haven't seen them, and you know, I've sort of slipped up there. But yeah, it's an awkward one. I suppose it's just trying to sort of think what you're doing. If you're a tenant, if you can compost. Don't overstructure so you haven't got so much stuff to get rid of in the first place. Yeah, it's an awkward one. I have to ping it back over to you.
We've had one resident who's near the allotments who's written on three occasions now,
Right.
say that it's really, you know, affecting her quality of life, particularly on the Berry Road side.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, if there's any compromises, or, I mean, I've spoken to the Allotments Association about it, and they've tried to kind of accommodate as much as they can.
I think the person, what feedback I got from, if it's the same person.
Careful.
Yeah, they I think they felt that there's no compromise. You know, no one was prepared to listen, and they just felt that, you know, they felt like they'd have to move to get away from the situation.
So should we be asking people to at certain times of the day, or do we try and limit to 1 day a week? Or
yeah, perhaps so. I mean, in my case, I mean, I can, I won't be able to contact everybody. But I mean, if it's the person who it regularly annoys, I can forewarn them and just sort of explain. I think I'm getting to the situation at Berry Road where we're sort of coming towards the end of the real messy ones. So hopefully we won't have too much in the way of bonfires. And I try and take away as much stuff as I possibly can. If it's a small amount, I just wouldn't bother having a bonfire. But in this occasion, where the particular plot we're working on at the moment, there's no way you could have taken all that amount of rubbish away. But I did forewarn the person, and they were understanding.
so, what sites do we have issues with fires on?
I think it is Berry Road.
Road, that's the only one. Yeah.
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 So if we were to ask whether we could have maybe certain days, or, well, I mean, should we go back to Berry Road again and ask them again to see if they could come up with a compromise?
Yeah, I mean, if it's dry wood, it's not so bad. If you get that going, it sort of burns not too bad. But I mean, if you've got vegetation, that's where I think the problem is. It does cloud up pretty bad with the smoke. So I think, yeah, try and compost if you can.
Yeah, I think we've sort of picked on Berry Road because that's where we've had the complaints from. But actually, I have stood on the railway station, and it wasn't you, Carl. You know, it's the allotment holders burning and all that whoops onto the station. By the time you get on the train, you actually stink of smoke, and you know you sort of like going for a thick fog. But I don't know whether because whatever rules you make, you've got to carry it across all allotments. So whether we put 1 day a week between so many, between these hours, and then that is actually broadcasted out. You know, these are the days that we've allowed them to burn. Because it is natural on allotments, they've always done it. You know, there's never been there's never been complaints, but now you know people are getting out their gardens more, and they want to sit out there, and all of a sudden they're covered in smoke. Not very nice. So I don't know whether we give specific times that you all allotment holders would be allowed to burn if they wish to.
Yeah, our officers have suggested they go back to the Residents Association on Berry Road and ask them. But I do think we need to take into consideration that allotments do need fires to burn. Unfortunately, they have waste, and they always have done. But we also must take into the people around them, and it is mostly the Berry Road that people do. I have stood on the railway, Brenda, and I do agree with you. Sometimes you get smoked out there too. But we need to come up with an idea of a limited times for burning. I know that Breckland doesn't have a policy on burning and anything, but maybe as an allotment association, we need to go back to our allotment associations. Sorry, as allotment committee, we need to go back to our allotment association and see if they can come up with an idea, a compromise, and then come back to the next meeting with that.
Chris has his hand up. Dennis, Chris has his hand up.
Oh, good. Sorry, Chris, missed you. Go on.
No, it's okay. I mean, I have a thing about this allotment burning. I believe if you live near an allotment, that's country life for you. People have fires, etc. So, but I quite like the idea of a compromise. But how far will we go? Will they start complaining next about manure put on the allotments and the smell and etc. etc.? But to have a foreign allotment is natural. But I can agree with the compromise of 1 day a week. But it's weather orientated, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say I think 1 day a week is probably too narrow. But should we ask all our allotments association for some ideas and bring back to the next committee meeting, and then come to a decision then?
Yes, that's a good idea.
The agenda.
Can I come in, please? I put my hand up 3 times.
Oh, sorry, Jen, I missed you.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Nothing's coming up on my screen on hands up for some reason.
Yeah, what I was going to say about the fires is the concern I have got is the fact that when Carl or allotment holders are clearing their allotments and they've got stuff that they need to burn, if they can only do that once, twice a week, you're going to get wildlife in that burrowing in there. You're going to get the hedgehogs used it as a den or whatever, used it as a den. So, you know, I think the quicker it's burnt and got rid of, the better myself, because you say it's gonna affect the wildlife. You're going in there camping. Thank you.
Could I come in?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think also it's important what is burnt. I mean, nothing which is plastic and, you know, that type of thing, roofing felt. And also, I mean, I find chipboard, stuff like that smokes pretty bad. And not to, you know, make it that you're not to bring in stuff from home to burn, which I've witnessed before in the past. Stuff has been brought on site to burn, which hasn't helped.
Yeah.
I was going to ask that, Carl. I bet a lot of people bring stuff in from home to burn, don't they? Because then they think because it's in the open that it's not going to affect their neighbours, whereas it does affect people. But yeah, I don't know if we can put that in the rules, can we then?
Well, yeah, we can literally put anything we like in the rules. Whether we can enforce them is another matter. But yeah, I think it might be a good idea. I thought we had something in the rules. I'm going to obviously need to have a new set of them, saying that people weren't allowed to import rubbish for burning onto the site. I know we used to have that in there.
I suppose what they still in there.
Yeah.
Thought it was. Yeah, so, okay. Is there anything else to say? Because I don't seem to be picking hands up for some reason on this. So.
No, it's just mine, Dan.
Okay, cheers. Thanks. All right. So, what is the decision that we've come to? Is it that we ask our associations about fires and see what kind of information comes back from them, and then we take it up at the next allotment meeting?
Yep.
With the decision.
Yeah, that's the way forward. We talked to the allotment committee. Yeah.
Can we leave that to our lovely officers to contact the allotment associations for us? As we have one on every allotment now, so great.
Yep.
Thank you, Roz.
Yep, we've had some issues around theft. We've asked that everyone to start reporting that any type of theft, even if it's a tomato, to the police. So we start to have records that we have an issue at the allotments.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise the police won't help us unless with crime prevention and stuff, unless we show them that there is an issue. Yeah. And obviously we had our combination locks stolen from Munford Road over the break thing. A lot of people wrote to us about that and we're unhappy about that. And we've had various people write to us to say that they're shielding and they wouldn't be looking after their allotments. And we've got the manure on Icknield Way, and we had a couple complaints about that. I wonder if we want to take the discussion about that under the line, because that relates to individual allotments as well.
Yeah. As long as everybody else is willing, yeah, I'm willing to do that. Thank you.
Yeah, I have got something on the correspondence. Well, it's not been sent to the council, but it's a couple of questions that I've been asked. Was on the Icknield Way, there's a gate coming from a person's property into the allotments. Well, sadly, that person has passed away. So they wondered, because the house is going up for sale, they wondered if that gate could be blocked in.
Yes, we do need to do that, Jen. I mean, normally the person who would have put it in should block it up. because
sadly
if they've passed away, then I think that's probably something that we should look to do. Have we got a spare fence panel that we could do? I'll have a word with Carl about that after the meeting, and we'll get that sorted.
Yeah.
Going back on the thefts on the allotments. There's a suspected on one of the allotment sites. They're not sure if it's got to be a human, because the muntjacs can't get to their courgettes. So, but it's because it's not sure if it's a muntjac or a human. It was just a question about the a mention about thefts on certain sites.
Cool. We'll have to, that's
I
an
think
ongoing problem with the
we have to
security.
look at what muntjacs actually do eat, and they normally eat your flowers.
Yeah.
This is courgettes.
Well, I've got a muntjac. He's at all my flowers, and then he's buried himself in next door's bush. He comes every night. My son goes out there and feeds him berries, because of grapes and God knows what else. But they are very particular what they eat, actually. I don't think they'd eat courgettes, because he's put apple down and he hasn't touched them. So I think they're particular.
Why we're saying human or muntjacs is the fact that these had been planted in a high bin, which muntjacs can't get to. But because of the problems with the muntjacs on the site, it's
an option.
It's an option. Yeah.
Is there anything else on the correspondence that we need to note, or our officers need to bring to our attention?
Didn't Chris have something?
I'd like to ask about the manure, because it's
that's going under the line.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think,
no, I was asking. Number 40, environmental officer. What was that one? You want to take that one below the line as well?
That is the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the one.
Oh no, that's number 29. I'm talking about number 40, environmental.
I think they're both the same.
Okay.
Neil's way.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why my computer is not.
Yeah, that's the same one, Brent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? From that?
There's something Chris was going to bring up under correspondence.
He did it under health and safety.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Okay. All right. So are we moving on now?
Hello.
166 committee officers up, please.
Yeah, committee officer. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Okay.
Carl, have you got anything to add?
On what?
Just officers update. I haven't got anything to add.
No, not really. I don't think. No.
My favorite kind of officers. Right. Okay.
So I'm going to announce now that I'm going to stop recording as we're going on to 167. So the recording will stop now.
And while you're doing that, I shall read 167 out. 167